Welcome to the lawn chair. This is a podcast slash video where I sit in a chair that is a lawn chair that I got for like $6 at Walmart, and I talk about a thing for however long I feel like it. Today it is the lawn chair. And then also old, because I was thinking about old today for some reason. So the lawn chair is just because I'm a white guy and I want to make a podcast and I have everything better to do with my life. So as such, I did this. Why do I have the mic in my hand instead of on an arm? Because I like this more. I feel it's cooler. I feel like I'm doing a stand-up comedian bit, and I'm not. I'm sitting in a lawn chair that I don't even know how long this thing will last. The appearance of the room. This is the only space in my apartment at the moment that I could use that worked. And it is also my bedroom, and this is my bed. It is covered by a blanket because I did not make it. And even when I do, it looks wrinkly because I'm a roller. Which is, I'll be. Behind me is the egress window that apparently wasn't closed when I got here, because I was wondering why I was hearing bugs so often, and it turns out it was because the window wasn't closed, and I was like, nobody's lived here in like a month. That probably should have been closed when they left. But it's closed now, so that's all that really matters. This side is the boxes, but not like misgift boxes. These are boxes full of things that do not matter, but I do not have the storage space to put them anywhere else. The big brown pillar is to keep the fake wall that was built from falling apart, because there's about an inch-ish of foam that is meant to be like a sound blocker or just like a divider of the rooms, because this room is not actually a room. It is part of a bigger room that we had to buy a wall for, basically, as in we bought like the wood and all that stuff and had to like build a wall to separate the room, which not ideal. I don't have a light switch in this room, so that's a slight problem. Every light switch in the floor of the apartment I live in also is not in any vicinity towards me. So I can't turn off a hall light, go into my room, and then turn on my light. I have to basically turn on my phone flashlight, walk in my room, and then turn on the light in my room, which right now is like the cheap Walmart light you can get, because this is the epitome of a single white male living space. So there's that. What else is here that's of note? That's not on the side. The metal poles are just foundation stuff. The ceiling sucks in that, like, I don't know how soundproofed it is or like foamed or whatever it is, because I can hear people just rolling around. There's a vent going off right now, which you can just hear like the entire house from. There's certain rooms where it's like just clear as day. Like, they even cross the house, but I can hear them like easy peasy, and it's no problem. Which, it's whatever. That's life. It's cheap. Take what we can get. Some more privacy than I've had before. I'll be with a lot less storage space. As in, I have shelves here. You can't see them. They're like literally just out of frame. Some shelves there. some bins stacked up next to my desk, which is a folding table. Because, of course. Like, this room is, like, literally the epitome of, like, a single white male living space. And it's, like, funny, but it's also, like, this is an apartment I will live in for maybe a year, probably a year, just until my lease goes up, and then I will be who knows where. Because I'll have graduated college, and I'll be off to join the workforce and slave away a job for the rest of my life, more than likely. Which is part of the reason this exists, is because I desperately do not want to work in anything that, like, 9 to 5s that I need to clock in every day and just hate my job every day. So as such, I just try and do everything that is not that, because I hate doing that. Because what I've learned is that I'm decent at most jobs I can do, but I just don't want to do them. Because I just don't have any desire or passion for it. I'm just doing it because it gets me paid. Which is like a decent justification, but it's also like, do you really want to live that way? Do you really want to be doing like dead-end jobs all the time? The answer to your question is no, I really don't. So I'm here doing this with acting like I'm a stand-up comedian sitting in a chair telling jokes, but I'm just a dude who doesn't want to work, just being lazy as hell. Because I want to be, and I don't want to be slaving away at a job my whole life, because that sounds sucky. So instead I bought a lawn chair so I had another seat in my room, because I had someone over and they had to take a chair to the other room, which was a broken, like, garden chair. I don't know what they're called. They're like plastic chairs, basically, or you just like they have the same like texture as like a watering can. They're just like plastic chairs, and it's like, I should probably get another chair that is specifically for this room. But I also didn't want to buy a folding chair because it's like $10, and also carrying that out of Walmart would be a hassle because those things are not buildable. They're just however tall they are, and it's like, I don't want to carry that when I could get a lawn chair that is in a bag. I have the bag literally on the back of here, so if I need to leave, I can take it along with me. Because it's easy. Piece of cake. I don't need to do anything else. And I like that. When I get an actual apartment, will I get furniture? Yes, at some point. Again, I'm just a single white guy. I got no reason to splurge on fancy things. And the only person living here 99% of the time is me. But that's how it be. And it's fine. It's got a cup holder. It's got a small cup holder though. I don't know if it can actually like hold anything. But it's there. It's like he's on a crack a cold one open while I'm watching a movie on my TV. I can do that. I probably won't, because I don't really drink beer, because my body hates me and I hate it back. But it's an option, and that's what matters. It's an option. The setup as we currently speak is I have my computer on my other chair in this room, the rolly chair, and on top of 2 books, because it took me 5 minutes to realize this rolly chair can go up. Because I also didn't want it to be where my seat regular was, because that was, you get a nice view of my knee, because my knee is like right there, and I don't need you looking at me like that. That's a little invasion of my privacy, and I think you should stop doing that. Other than that, this chair is not incredibly comfortable. I also am capable of sitting straight or like a normal functioning human being. So when you see me putting my arm up, like look reclining or like leaning one side against this flimsy arm, that is because I do not like ever sit straight like a normal human being. I lean. I do it while I'm driving too, which is kind of probably not good. But hey, I'm only gonna break my back eventually. That's a future problem. Not a today problem. Anyway, I want to talk about old the movie because I just want to talk about it and I can talk about it. Because what I wanted to do in this is do random talking for however long it takes you to random talk about whatever thing pops in my head, and then also talk about a movie. Because I watch a lot of movies. Because part of it's my job. But these are also usually going to be movies that I don't use for my job. Because either I don't think they would want me to do one on that, I don't want to do one on it, I already have done one on it, I haven't seen it in long enough to warrant like writing a review on it, and I also just can be more freeform when I'm sitting here talking like a comedian, which is good. So, anyways, old. If I know you in real life, please stop listening or watching this now because I want you to watch Old. And if you watch any further than this, you're gonna not want to watch it, and I don't like that because I want you to watch it. Anyways, Old is, pause for dramatic effect, a really bad movie. It's horrible. It's probably one of the worst things I've ever seen. But it was fun watching it because I watched it with other people, and you can just poke fun at how just horrible this movie is. But like, it's also just weird and bad, and I hated it because it doesn't really like work. It's also just really weird in concept. And then if you think about it for more than 2 seconds, you're like, this is just does not. I don't like this. This makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to be here. Get me off this ride. And it's just a bad time. But it's also really fun with people who are not entirely sober. Or just other people in general who can just riff. Because the one problem with this podcast, if I don't ever have guests on, is I'm a lot better at riffing off of things than I am at just sitting. Because I can riff pretty well, I think. I just say dumb things and people laugh and you go, yes. So I was doing that like literally the whole time during Old. I was just like, I don't know what's going on, so I'm just going to make fun of it. So point one, it doesn't make any sense if you think about it. And like the consistency of things is like, I don't understand. Because they're supposed to age really quickly, but some of them just like don't age for a while and then age like 30 years in like 2 seconds is what was the vibe I was picking up. But then also you think that they're like the main principal kids in this are like all sub 12. Like the one guy's like 8.5. It's something and a half because I remember him being like and a half, as kids do. But then he has sex with a girl, with the little like 3-year-old or whatever old she is, and then impregnates her, and they have a kid. And I think that's the moment when I stopped for a second, or should have stopped for a second and been like, why am I still watching this? Where did we as a society go wrong? Because that's the moment where you're like, that's a 6-year-old, 6, 8, 8.5, whatever, and like a 3-year-old who just had sex and a kid. Because like their bodies age, but we're not given anything to imply that their minds have also developed, which is just like it's just like is gross. It's just gross. That's just really the easiest way to do it. It's just ugh, 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 ugh. It's just not a straight up not having a good time for everyone except for Mid-sized Sedan. He's just dumb enough that like I liked him. He's like, this is a dumb name for a character who does like nothing, but I love him because of that. Then he gets killed, and I don't understand like how he. Because we know, because later the dad, he's like getting stabbed a lot, and is just like healing it off. But then like Mid-sized Sedan like dies, and you're like, how'd that happen? What's going on here? I think the justification is like that he like was like blood clots, I think, because at the end of this, which is the worst part of this movie, because I read it as just M. Night Shyamalan making fun of you for watching his movie because you know how bad it is, which is almost certainly not what he meant it to be, but that's what I'm choosing to read it as because it makes me feel a little better inside. Because when he cuts back and it's like him watching them, I'm like, oh, he knows he's watching us watching this. He knows how bad this creation is, and he put it out there anyways. And then he's the bad guy. M. Night Shyamalan's the bad guy. He's the villain in real life and in the movie. Because I watched the movie and I'm mad at him for making me watch that, even though I definitely could have just left. But I'm upset that he wasted my time with that. Because the ending of it just unravels like anything. And then also is like trying to justify itself. Where it's like, you know, we're trying to make cures for these diseases, so we're giving these people like spiked drinks or something. And then shoving them on the island with magnets that makes them old. To see if my medicine works. Which is like, okay. For like 2 seconds I can think, yeah, he's trying to do this for the better of medicine, you know? He's trying to be a good person for the future. And what I think it's probably Brooklyn Nine-Nine or John Mulaney, I forget which. They both probably have said this at some point. I think it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where it's like, decent motive, he still killed like 60 people, but it's still murder. Like, trying to use that as a justification does not work. That made me hate it more, because you're like, you are delusional enough to think you're doing something good by murdering 60 people. I think it's how many they'd already done it on. And I think like of them, like one person did it. Like one thing was fine, which he died of like something else, and it was like, it was just like not. It was like there are ways to solve this problem, and the answer to that is don't explain it. Don't try to justify your horrible decision. And he did exactly that, and I hated him for it. I said, why would you do that to me? Why would you subject me to trying to make it seem like anything you did was remotely good when it was not? You killed the 60 people, and you apparently found the cure for one of them. So I don't see how that math works out. Even ethically, that almost certainly does not work out. I don't know how you got permission to do that. It's just I compare it to my other least favorite movie of all time is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Because I think every character in that is annoying, and every decision 90% of them make is just dumb. And I think Old does that, but makes me more infuriated about it. Because Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is annoying. Like, the child unleashing all the dinosaurs on the world is objectively a dumb decision. But she's like, they're like me. They're not real dinosaurs. They're clones or whatever. And I'm like, one, the fact your clone is literally never brought up until like one throwaway line, and then I don't see how that justifies releasing dinosaurs to the world. Like, think for 2 seconds what that will do to society, and use your singular brain cell to be like, maybe I won't release dinosaurs into the world to just kill people, you know? I know it's a pretty bold concept, but like, I know you're a kid, but like, use your brain for 2 seconds, kid. You're not that dumb. You're not that young. You're not excused from that. I just like don't. I don't even know what to say to that child. But that they don't try to justify her decision. Like they do, and it's like she's a dumb kid, but they don't try to like make it sound like a good thing. I think everyone in the audience knows that's a bad thing, and they were also just using that so they could set up uh, Jurassic World 3, where all the dinosaurs are out in real life, or not in real life, in like suburbia and the rest of the world. It's still dumb, but at least that execution sets up something cool. Because as much as I hate Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I'm going to go see the third one because dinosaurs in everyday life for just normal people is a cool concept. The entirety of old is not a cool concept, and it is just something that exists, and I think... I don't know if this is something that should exist. Because I don't know how you do this well, in all honesty. Like, I think theoretically someone could do this well and, like, make it be, like, interesting commentary on something. But, like, I don't know who that is or, like, what they're going to do with it. Because I just see thousands and thousands of very large pitfalls that are, like, they're not even like pitfalls. They're like in Zelda when there's just a void below you, and if you fall in it, you die or lose a heart. Like having a 3-year-old and a 8, 6, whatever, and a half-year-old have a child. That's just a void. The instant that thought was conceived, you should have burned it at the stake and just thrown the whole project away and said, to the next movie, everybody, we're not doing this anymore. Honestly, I feel like that might have been where this movie was conceived. I feel like someone had that idea and it was like, well, I guess they probably started the idea of what if an island made you old. But I feel like the what if these children had a child on the old island was where they were like, yes, let's do this. Let's make this a real thing. I don't know what possessed them that day, but maybe we need to go back in the timeline and change that. I haven't seen the source material, so if the people who made the source material see this, I'm sorry in advance. I don't really have anything against you or M. Night Shyamalan, really. I just think what you did was really annoying, and I wish you had not. But I also I know like vague bits about the why did my knee down? Let's calm down there, buddy. Is like that in the comic graphic novel that like the kid is actually like born and grows up, which is like it's still really weird because it's a 3-year-old and like a 6 or 8.5-year-old that had a kid, but it's marginally cooler or more interesting that the kid is now alive on that island, despite not having existed mere hours ago. I still wouldn't go ahead with the project, but that's at least like kind of interesting. But I don't think it outweighs how weird it is. That's really all I have to say about Old. Is it's a movie I would give 0 stars to if I had the ability to do that on Letterboxd. But the problem is that I worked at a movie theater and people just kept seeing Old. I was like, what are you doing with your life that led you to see Old? Like, I'm thankful you're seeing a PG-13 movie, which, like, by the way, so this should, I don't understand how that worked. There is just some weirdly grotesque things in there. I'm not complaining though, because if I don't have to ID someone, I do not want to ID someone. So this was all more power to them. But it was just like I would be like selling people these tickets, and it's like you want, like, I've seen it, and so I want to tell them, like, don't do this to yourself. You could see Black Widow again. You could see Pig if you're old enough and have an ID. You could see Jungle Cruise. You could see anything else, but you chose to watch Old. And I just don't understand why you would do that to yourself. I get you didn't know, and I can't stop you. I don't think I'm legally allowed to tell you to not see like a movie. Like, I feel like it's bad for business unless you don't have an ID and it's an R-rated movie. But it was always like, it was the peak like 10 p.m. movie where it's like we're supposed to have closed, and we just get these like crowds of people who are high or drunk or both coming in to watch it, and I'm like, those people, I'm just like, go ahead. Would love to see the world through your eyes during that movie, because I imagine it is not at all how I saw it. But then there were like normal people seeing it, and I was like, please, like, don't do, like, I felt bad. I felt bad being like, here's your tickets to Old. And I think the most prominent one I remember was these like two high school girls were coming to see it, and one of them just had like life in her voice. Like, she was happy to be alive and was just thriving. And then she like went and bought a ticket to Old, and I considered for about 2 seconds before I was like, I don't think I'm legally allowed to tell you no, don't see this. Where I was like, maybe I will just tell you to not see Old and go see like Jungle Cruise or something. But then also the Jungle Cruise screening was 5 teenage boys at 10 o'clock at night, and I went, maybe not. That sounds like a recipe for a bad time. So they got to see Old. I don't know what they thought of it. I hope they at least had a good time. I don't think they will ever see this or even know who I am, because I was just the guy who sold them movie tickets. But if they do, just know I felt bad doing that. But I hope you enjoyed the movie. And with that, that's going to be the end of the first installment of The Lawn Chair. I need to drink some water.